could have done a better job if he'd asked me yesterday, but I'm going to do my best. First, I think everyone here knows, but this is a serious issue. It's not just the cold, it's not just the flu, and it affects young people and old people. It's very variable, and there are certainly people who have COVID and don't know they have it, and there are people who have COVID and don't survive, and you all know that. It affects young people and old people, and God has blessed us greatly in Lincoln County throughout the year, and we've been spared largely the tragedy that's affected other areas. But now is our time, and it's here, and there are 50 plus new cases of COVID in Lincoln County a day. I think over 400 active cases presently. Some of those people are going to die, and have, and so it's an important issue. I would preface my comments by saying what I think about it doesn't really matter because I don't know it all. Nobody knows it all, but you have to choose who you're going to listen to, and what I'm going to try to relate to you is what the CDC says, because I trust them. And you'll hear other opinions, and you have to choose whether you're going to listen to some yahoo on Facebook like me or listen to experts such as the CDC. And that's who I try to listen to. They have defined significant exposure as being within 6 feet of someone for 15 minutes without masks or protection. And that means it's not the same as walking by and saying hi to somebody who's positive. That's not a significant exposure. This is not a 100% thing, okay? So there's nothing in medicine or healthcare that's 100%, really. And so you're using the best guidelines, but there's not 100% guarantee on that. If you have a significant exposure, you're advised to quarantine for 10 days. Now, testing is not an issue there, because you can test on day 3 and be negative, but by day 5, now you're sick and you're infectious. So you can't test yourself out of quarantine. The 10-day recommendation also applies to when you're sick. So if you develop a sore throat, if you develop a cough, if you lose your taste and smell, if you have diarrhea, if you become ill and are determined to have COVID, your quarantine is 10 days from the beginning of your symptoms, assuming that you're improving at the end of that 10-day period and you don't have fever and don't require Tylenol or ibuprofen for fever, then you can come out of quarantine. Or if you don't have symptoms and you test positive, then you quarantine for 10 days after your positive test. So that gets kind of tricky sometimes, but I would just close by encouraging all of us as Christian brothers and sisters to exercise tolerance for people, because people's opinions differ. And I'm old enough and have learned enough over time to know that my opinion is just my opinion. And Don may have a different opinion, but I'm going to love him and I'm going to respect his opinion. So I would encourage you to have some tolerance for your Christian brothers and sisters. We don't have to agree, but we have to love each other. We are blessed in Christ with freedom. And we are blessed in the United States with freedom. But the Bible tells us not to abuse our freedom in Christ, and instead to love each other and respect each other. And if I respect you enough, and if I love you enough, the government doesn't have to tell me to wear a mask. I'm going to try to protect you, and that's what I try to do. And I will allow one personal opinion, okay? And there's study after study and evidence back and forth. But I'm going to share my personal opinion. Masks are effective. Now, I didn't say 100%, but masks are effective in protecting your loved ones, your friends, your family, your church members, and I'm going to encourage you to employ that. So if you have any more questions, ask Don, okay?